Mark and I are going to be talking about Gradient's 1 million, or actually I think it's 4 million now, Llama 3 fine tune. Why did you guys build this long context extension for Llama 3?
I mean, it was a no-brainer for us. We're always tinkering with new models as they come out, really evaluating them and figuring out like what are their capabilities, because to a certain extent, like we're guiding our customers there too as well. Like a lot of enterprises, they lean on us to be able to help them determine what their needs and their roadmap is going to be. But beyond that, the number one criticism coming out of the Llama 3 model was the 8K context length, because that's actually kind of short in today's day and age. And it's sort of table stakes for models to go to like 16,000 or 32,000 these days, because of the like, think about retrieval augmented generation to a certain extent, right? Like if you have, in a lot of cases, we have like these long system prompts that helps guide the model and provides really instruction following capabilities, and stuffing in more context becomes really hard when it's that small, right? So we just shot for the moon and we thought it's time to just go. Gemini said they had 1 million. Let's see if we hit 1 million for the open source out there.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So quick question here. Why Llama 3? Are there any other open source models that you guys are looking to fine tune to extend the context window for?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's an interesting relationship because Llama 3, again, like I said, is a no-brainer. Everybody's been waiting for it.
Yeah.
And the other thing about models, I think some people understand, some people don't, but like a lot of it is just the community trust in the brand. I'll call it a few models that I actually think are excellent, but aren't as adopted in the community. So one of them, some of the stable diffusion models like stable LM, they even released a really great technical paper about it. Fantastic small model, but it wasn't getting as much adoption as maybe like the Mistral models. The other set of models is like the DeepSeek models coming out of labs in China. Those are the same as well. And in a way, it's almost like programming languages. Like you want to go towards where the community gravity is for these models, because people are also exploring them, augmenting them, customizing them, and you're able to actually learn a lot from that. So going into Llama 3 was an obvious choice to us. The amount of tokens sent through that model gave us a lot of suspicion that it's going to have way more knowledge and a much stronger world model for us to be able to work on.
I hadn't really thought too much about the community adoption for the branding, but I mean, a lot of it makes sense. That's probably why Mistral is so well adopted, is because they have that branding to them as well. Why does Meta not come out with a long context window for their own models? How your long context was done at Gradient?
You'd have to ask Meta themselves why they didn't start off with releasing that. I'd say like from a practical standpoint, right? Having to train a long context model is much more expensive. It might be more sample efficient to first train for the shorter context. Like you can always keep on adding longer context extensions. There's been numerous papers out there, one coming from Meta, that actually showed that if you train solely on the long context, it's actually less sample efficient than training on shorter contexts and then extending the context at the end of training. And that's because you got to think about it. Whenever I think about all these models and training them, I actually think about a human being. So like as me and a human being, I don't start off with trying to understand an entire book by reading the book cover to cover and doing no exercises. What you want to do is you break out your modules and you learn the concepts and they build on each other, where finally you can add like an extremely long context to reason over. And that actually works with higher fidelity and higher quality than training throughout the entire training process there. So, we don't know. Maybe they will release a longer context model. Maybe we inspired them to do that a little bit faster. That'd be really cool. But we're up to working with them too as well on evaluating them and working together collectively to just make it better for the community.
I mean, that's really interesting. I didn't realize I hadn't read that paper, so I didn't realize that they had said something about like the difference between training long context and starting with short context.